Resources Appointment and Equity Committee meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, April the 2nd. We're a little behind due to our previous committee. So now we'd like to call it to order and have the clerk give us a roll call.
Calling the roll, Ms. Brown.
Here.
Mr. Gallagher. Here. Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mr. Miller. Here. Ms. Conwell.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Is there any public comment?
No, Madam Chair, no one is signed in.
All right. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the March 19th meeting. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there are no questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
If you'll read the first item into the record, please.
Resolution number 2019-0076, adopting various changes to the Cuyahoga County non-bargaining classification plan.
All right. Thank you very much. Good morning.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, I'm Albert Bouchahine with the Personnel Review Commission. Before you for your consideration today are changes to the non-bargaining classification plan. Changes in departments' operational needs and routine maintenance necessitate creation of one new classification, the revision of 6 classification, and the deletion of 17 classifications. All the modifications before you were prepared by the PRC, class and comp staff who have worked extensively with the Department of Human Resources to ensure that the management teams are fully informed of the proposed changes. In accordance with the PRC rules, the proposed changes were posted on the PRC's website prior to consideration. The PRC considered and approved recommending these changes to you at their March 8th, 2019 meeting. Madam Chair, as you know, I no longer routinely ask for a second reading suspension of rules unless there's a time-sensitive recommendation being presented. This is one of those times. Before you is the Corrections Food Service Manager classification requested by the Sheriff's Department. They are anxious to fill this position as this individual will be responsible for managing the food service operations of the county jail. I'm therefore requesting that these recommendations be approved under second reading suspension of rules. I thank you for your consideration, and I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone currently, I know the classification and the job description is new. Who currently oversees that, or is there someone in that role right now?
Madam Chair, my understanding some of those duties are performed by a corrections sergeant with the help of corrections officers and inmates at the jail.
Okay, so this will be exclusively a new position with that duty solely under one person's authority.
That is correct, and also with somebody who has experience and certification in food service operations.
So is it just strictly one position, or are we hiring for multiple people for the one position?
This classification, my understanding, is a single one incumbent position.
Okay. With the revisions and the deletions, any incumbents?
Madam Chair, the deletions have no incumbents. I wanted to point out that 12 of the 17 classifications that are slotted to be deleted are a result of the 4 classifications that you created in December, the administrative clerical classifications where we consolidated all those duties.
Okay.
Subsequent to that creation in December, the Human Resources Department has reassigned all incumbents to those new classifications, so there are no incumbents
In the deletions?
in the deletions.
As far as the revised?
As far as the revised, Madam Chair, the Assistant Clerk of the Board, there is an incumbent that employee at the Office of Procurement and Diversity. She is the Board of Control Coordinator. We're changing that title to reflect the duties of the position. The Clinical Coordinator, there is one incumbent in that as well. The Forensic Scientists, the 1 and 2 have incumbents. The Forensic Scientist 3 has no incumbents, and the Security Analyst has no incumbents as well. With those positions where there are incumbents, there is only 2 classifications that have a pay grade change. Those incumbent salaries fall within the new salary schedule. As you know, last Tuesday, this council approved modified salary schedules with no steps. So as long as the employees fall between the minimum and the maximum is what we're concerned with.
Okay, and will any of the incumbents' income be affected by the salaries?
No, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right, I'll open it up to my colleagues. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Councilman Miller?
Are any of the duties of the positions that are being eliminated being folded into the duties of unclassified positions?
Madam Chair, Councilman Miller, yes, Councilman, there are 2 classifications that are IT classifications that are we are requesting deletion for. The Communications Infrastructure Administrator, and the Engineering Operations Administrator. The department has said that these classifications are no longer necessary, and the duties which are formerly performed are being now performed by unclassified positions that they created. Those positions are called Infrastructure and Operations Administrator.
Are there any incumbents in those positions?
There are councilmen. Those employees were reassigned to the unclassified position. There are no incumbents in these current classified positions.
And on what basis was it determined that these positions should be unclassified?
Madam Chair, to Councilman Miller, we asked that question of the HR department. We received a response from Michael Young and Amy Margaret Renwald with an email that the position was deemed unclassified under section 124.11A8 and A24 of the Ohio Revised Code.
And not having a photographic memory about the Ohio Revised Code, what do those sections talk about?
Don't quote me, neither do I. I believe it's the administrative fiduciary exemption.
Okay.
And I'd be happy also, I will, after this meeting, send you those sections of the code. It's 124.11, and I believe it's A8 and 824 that they cited, and I'll forward you the email communication from Ms. Renwald as well.
And I can have Amy Margaret Renwood follow up as well with council.
Thank you. Any further questions, Councilman Miller?
That's it.
All right, Councilwoman Conwell?
I just want to ask, through the chair to Albert, in the future, if there's some changes like this and they quote you the ORC, can you send them prior to the meeting so we can look at them?
Absolutely, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Looks like Councilman Gallagher has a question or comment.
Yeah, Albert, on the Corrections Food Service Manager, I wasn't listening. That's in coordination with the understanding that we're going to be privatizing that and bringing in a company to do that.
Madam Chair, Councilman Gallagher, I don't have any knowledge of anything to do with the privatization of the jail. My understanding is this would be a county employee.
But this is new.
This is a new position. The duties, some of the duties are currently performed by a corrections sergeant.
Right. I would assume the sheriff asked for this then?
That is correct.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Any further questions from the committee?
No.
All right, given the sense of urgency around the position with regards to the jail hire, I will make the recommendation this be moved to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second?
Second?
It's been moved in second. Are there any further questions, comments, or concerns from the committee? All right, there being none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, if you'll read the next item
Thank you.
into the record, please. Thank you, Mr. Boucher.
Resolution number 2019-0081, authorizing an amendment to agreement number AG 1800067 with the Metro Health System for the Metro Health Select Network Health Benefit Plan for county employees and their eligible dependents for the period 1/1/2016 to 12/31/2018, to extend the time period to 12/31/2019, to change the terms effective 1/1/2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $900,000.
Good morning.
Good morning. Holly Woods, Director of HR for Benefits and Compensation. Madam Chair, to the committee, so we are requesting a one-year extension. This is a shared savings agreement that we engage with through Metro Health. And under our contracts with Metro Health, we pay a certain percentage of Metro's usual and customary charges. And instead of a rate increase, and we've been doing this would be our third year for this type of agreement. Instead of engaging in negotiations for a rate increase for those services, we entered into this shared savings agreement back in 2017. We want Metro to be our partner in controlling overall healthcare spend. So as part of this agreement, they make sure people are getting healthier, they're directing direct care more appropriately, and they're overall managing the claim spend, avoiding overutilization. So it's a way to really engage them in part of that cost sharing that we're looking for. And the commitment is that if they help us control the cost of our plans, then we'll split the savings with them at the end of the year. So the way these agreements work is we enter in the agreement, and then at the end of the year, we do the calculations to ensure that there was cost sharing. And if there's a cost sharing, then it's a 50-50 split of that savings with the county and with Metro Health. So a benchmark is set. It's based on 3 years of county experience, healthcare experience, and we remove any excess claims, so anything that's hit stop loss that's out of the ordinary. And there's some normalization of those claims that are done. So of course, we're looking at 3 years of claims. Services that were performed back in 16 are not going to cost the same that they would today, but we do some projections to see where our claims cost will come in. There's some normalization that's done, and then a benchmark cost is set per member per month. And that's the benchmark that we're using with Metro Health. So if they can come in at a lower cost of that benchmark, again, based on the projected claims that we expect, then they share in that savings with us.
Okay, you said there's a per member per month rate. How many members are we talking about here?
This is for all bodies covered under our plan, and so total, I'll have to get that to you. It's total dependents and employees, so I'm not sure offhand how many exact we have under that plan, but then we do a total expense. So let me give you an example just to show you what we experienced last year. So through the same type of shared savings agreement, the benchmark performance was set that based on the anticipated claims, we would be spending just over $23 million. And the actual performance came in at $21 million. So the difference of that is about 1.7 in cost savings. And so 50% of that share is about 854,000. So they match the services. If we were to have the same year that we had last year, we expect to see a cost savings. We want them to make sure they're managing the plan, managing how they're directing care, and making sure that they're engaging in preventive health with our employees. So if the claims matched year after year, we expect to see some cost savings. And that's kind of the basis for this agreement. So last year we experienced a 1.7 million in cost savings. And so as a result, we pay them back half of that.
And you said the half was around the 850 mark, and so this contract is for 900 for 3 years. So can you explain the math to me so that it
Sure.
makes a little more sense?
So this would be what we would pay them out after this year is complete. So we engage in a contract, but we don't actually pay them out until after the year is over, once all of the claims are incurred.
Okay.
So that 900,000 is actually for next year. The contract where we paid them out, this amount was approved last year, and we would be paying them out this year.
I think I got it. Okay, any questions from the committee? I'm going to start to my left, Councilman Miller, with Councilwoman Conwell, and then to you next, okay? So Councilwoman Conwell, and then you.
Through the chair to Hollywood, you mentioned that we set projected benchmarks, meaning the county. Is Metro aware of any of the projected benchmarks that we set?
They do. So they engage in a process with the underwriters of Oswald, and they actually work out a complete methodology for what this cost, the shared savings agreement, will look like. So they're aware immediately what that's going to look like so that they can try and meet that benchmark throughout the year.
Okay, so it's better that way than them not knowing?
Correct, because they're actually looking at, we're setting the parameters of the areas of savings that we're looking for, and then they've got to work to meet that.
Okay, thank you.
Councilman Miller.
So, Madam Chair, Director, how was the 900,000 not to exceed number settled upon?
So this is where, again, the underwriters go through calculations and formulas, and that's the anticipated cost. We don't set a limit on the cost, on the shared savings. So by all means, if they did a great job, it could be more than that, but we anticipate the cost to be slightly higher than what it was for 18. So it's a projection.
So if it exceeded the 900,000, you'd have to come back to us for a contract amendment, is that correct?
That's correct.
And since you said the cost share agreement is in lieu of negotiating over rates, are you saying that Metro is maintaining the same rates for services except for what we pay them under the cost sharing agreement?
So when I talk rates, it's rates for actual services, not the premiums that we pay. So it's what we pay for the cost of their services. I just want to differentiate. It's different than the annual renewals that we get that we have to pay, for the premiums of the plan, but it is maintaining the same percentage for the cost of services.
I'm sorry, but that kind of went past me.
Okay.
When you talk about paying premiums, who do we pay the premiums to?
Since we're self-funded, so there's two things. We pay for our employees to participate in the plan, and since the county is self-funded, we're paying for those services as they're incurred. So since we're self-funded, if you go to the emergency room and get services, the county is actually paying for those claims. That's the cost that we're talking about here, that they're not increasing the cost of services.
So, if we're self-funded, to whom or where do we pay premiums? That part doesn't make sense.
We pay them to the provider. So MMO is the administrator of our plans, and they pay Metro Health, but it's directly to the provider.
But it's not like normally when I think about an insurance premium, you pay the insurance company what their rate is, and then they cover whatever the claims are, whether it's more or less. But it sounds like that's not what we have here. It sounds like we're just directly paying for whatever the claims are. So we're not really paying a premium. We're paying directly for services. Am I right about that?
Yes, because we're self-insured. So there's two different ways that organizations can set it up. They can set it up so that they're self-insured, which the county is, and it actually is a cost savings for us because of our size to be self-insured, versus the other method where we would be paying more for premiums year after year if we weren't. So that's it's the difference between the two. Being self-insured, we are paying directly for the claims, and that doesn't hit our premiums as much as it would otherwise, as being fully insured.
When you do this calculation and you figure out what the cost would have been except for the savings, does that calculation factor in a general inflationary increase in healthcare costs?
It does. So one of the examples I gave was we're looking at our data over the last 3 years, and we're looking at, there's some normalization that's performed because things that happen in 16 may not happen in 19, but we can look at a pattern where some people are experiencing chronic conditions that aren't going away, so we can project what that's going to look like. And we know that those cost of services in 16 are going to be inflated for 19, and so that is built in there into the projection.
And roughly what percentage increase is built into that calculation?
I don't know offhand, but I can find out.
Okay, thank you.
I do know that when they're looking at the 3-year period, when they're looking at our experience, there's weighting that's done, and they do a weighting based on, back in 16 it's 10% weighted, 17 it's 15, and then in 18 it's 75%. So beyond my mathematical expertise, that's where the underwriters come in and they do some weighting and some formulas, but I can find out how they reduce that.
Thank you very much. Are there any further questions, comments, or concerns? Yes, Councilwoman Conwell.
Through the chair to Holly, so if we didn't have this cost savings agreement, Would that benefit the county? I'm looking at the money that we've saved over the 3 years would have been ours. But then I don't know what the other side would have looked like.
Right, so that's where we would then engage in a negotiations for the cost of our usual and customary services. And so we are, and I can get you some specific numbers on the difference if we were to avoid the shared savings and just go to negotiating increases. I can get you what that would look like. But we are saving more doing the shared savings agreement than going with just negotiating, increasing the cost of our usual and customary services.
And when did we start the cost saving shared agreement?
So the first year was 2016. So 2016 was the first contract. They measured performance throughout 16 and we paid out in 17. So that was the first year of this.
Okay, so the 3-year span was 2016,
Correct.
2017, and 2018?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, are there any further questions, comments, or concerns? Okay, and how would you like for this to be moved?
I don't, we're not paying out anything for this. We don't pay out until next year, so I don't need a suspension of the
Okay,
reins.
perfect. All right, so I'll move this to the full body of the council. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved in second. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. All right, if you read the next item into the record, thank you very much.
Resolution number 2019-0082, authorizing an amendment to contract number CE 180017-01 and 03 with Medical Mutual of Ohio for stop-loss insurance services for county employees and their eligible dependents, and Cuyahoga County Benefits Regionalization Program participant employees and their eligible dependents for the period 1/1/2018 to December 31st, 2018, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2019, to change the scope of services and terms effective 1/1/2019, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $1,250,000.
Welcome back.
Hollywoods, Madam Chair of the committee, so we're requesting a 1-year extension on our stop loss with Medical Mutual of Ohio. An RFP was issued in July of 2017. We solicited proposals for stop loss from 6 vendors, and we received only 1 response from Medical Mutual. They have been our provider since January of 2016, so we are requesting a 1-year extension on this. We have made some adjustments to our deductibles in the stop loss. So when we look at deductibles for stop loss in general, it comes down to risk tolerance. And historically, we did not adjust our deductibles, and we stayed pretty consistent with our stop loss insurance because we were rebuilding the reserve. So now that we have rebuilt the reserve, we do feel it's time to make an adjustment in the deductible. So how to make it very simple is we agree on a dollar amount that once claims hit this high dollar amount, they'll be covered under our stop loss insurance. Historically, that amount was at $300,000. Under this contract, it will be increased to $750,000. Again, we are in a better position now to assume additional risk with claims liability. And based on our past, really looking back at the past 5 years, we're in a good position to go ahead and adjust that deductible. So once a claim hits that deductible, it's covered by our stop loss is how that works.
Can you, is this where we had to, well, I'll phrase it like this. Can you identify the participants in the regionalization program?
So I won't call it necessarily a regionalization program, but we do have Board of Developmental Disabilities, Board of Health, and the Convention Center that still participate under a contract through the county, through our providers.
The land bank is no longer participating? Or?
They're not.
Okay. I will open it up to my colleagues if there are any additional questions. Yes, Councilman Miller.
Just a comment that in most of the past several years, we've paid considerably more for stop loss coverage than we're proposing here with the lower deductible, and generally we have not gotten back as much on claims as we paid in by a comfortable margin, and I think that increasing the deductible makes a lot of sense. I'm skeptical of whether stop loss insurance is needed at all, but putting that aside, I think this is certainly a very good move in the right direction that under most scenarios will work out well for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Miller. Are there any further questions, comments, or concerns? All right, thank you very much, Ms. Woods. There being none, I'll make the motion to move this. How would you like this to?
If we could do we have not hit our stop loss yet, so, this is, if we could do a second reading suspension, that would be helpful, just in case one comes over the next month.
Okay. All right, then I'll make the motion to move this to the full body of the council under second reading suspension. Do I have a second? Second. All right, it's been moved in second. If there are no further questions, comments, or concerns, all in favor, please say aye. 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 All right, thank you very much. Any miscellaneous business from the committee? There being none, this meeting is adjourned.